Hi, dear readers. T. Harriman here. And it is November 4th, about 8 o'clock at night. And probably like most of you right now, I am more stressed out than a chihuahua in New York traffic. I am just, whew. The presidential election has been super stressful for one and all. And so it was that I am not being sophisticated. You know what? You're not seeing any like fancy cameras set up here. I just wanted to get this out because I'm so tired. I didn't want to set up any kind of even halfway professional apparatus. So here we go. Gen Z, I love each and every one of you, but has it ever occurred to you that you might be a boomer? I am a member of Generation Z. Now, my kids always wanted to briefly go through the generations because, especially with the advent of the media, our generation really reflects how we think and how we live. Around the 1900s, we probably have some I don't know. We might have some members of the gaslight generation who are by now they are over 100. These are the people who grew up around the turn of the last century, and their children were the greatest generation because they fought off the odious apparatus of the Nazis and really overcame some terrible hardships with the Great Depression, the Dust Bowl, whatnot. All right, a little younger than they, and also comprising the Korea, a little bit of the Korea generation is the silent generation. So called because they never had a president represent them in the office. Follow these up with the kids who you know now as boomers, who served in Nam and became known as the me generation in the 70s. And I quite imagine you're not surprised to hear that at all. Now, when I grew up in a bucolic small town and where everyone knew everyone else. And so when I saw these hippies and I was a little kid, I thought, oh my gosh, these people are scary. They're weird. Little did I know. And I thought, wow, these disruptive people, they're going to be around forever. Little did I know that they were quitters, as soon as, many of them are quitters. I'm not saying all, saying many of them are quitters. They got cushy jobs and BMWs and I don't know, pick a hallmark of 80s life. And they really were very self-indulgent. Now, their kids, my parents are from the silent generation, but then we had Generation X, which is sort of, I think, is really a generation of outsiders. I think to some extent we don't feel like we belong. Much smaller generation. So, but we are followed by the millennials. And then my children are Gen Y, because I was an older mom. I'm sorry, forgive me. My kids are Gen Z. And as my kids were growing up, I was so impressed by how all these kids were really collectivist. That is, they were very group oriented. They're very conscientious. They're very caring. They really want to do the right thing. They're good kids. And whereas my generation, we kind of did things in the spirit of the law, but not to the letter of it. The Gen Z would impress me by doing both. And I would consider Gen Z kids to be much more evolved than my generation. And indeed, the boomers as well. They're back in boomer days, in the 70s, there's a rock group called The Who. The lead singer is named Roger Daltrey, and one of their classic songs is called My Generation. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't take my head off with this camera. If I did, well, that's okay. You might as well laugh at me. I don't care. So, it's no small thing to make someone laugh. Well, anyway, so, one of the lines in The Who's My Generation is, I hope I die before I get old. And that has really stuck with me for a couple of decades, because in their youth, the boomers probably believed that they were going to inhabit an everlasting summer, which did not come to pass. So now, what do they have to show for all their protesting? Yes, they did, usher in the civil rights era. They got it started, but they gave up. And so, on their deathbed, nothing is more costly than regrets. And I sure as heck would hate to be on my deathbed thinking, wow, what happened to all that good I wanted to achieve? So, here we are. You are back, but you're better. You're the new and improved version, Gen Z. Don't be a boomer. Don't give up on your ideals. We need change. And we all, every single human has to work together if we are going to perpetuate our species and hopefully other species on this planet, if this planet's to live. We have to work together. Everyone has to pull together. There's no hall passes on this one. So what I want you guys to do, Gen Z, I love you guys. And I want you, don't be a boomer. Never give up. So that someday on your deathbed, you can say, I made a difference. Maybe it was small, but I made a difference. And the people who know you and love you will say, he, she, they were a warrior. They never gave up. I can't think of a lot of things that would be better to have said about you. I'm going to go back and start watching the TV coverage. I love all of you. And I wish you all many hugs and even more blessings.